you say Delhi 2010 or Commonwealth 2010, people associate Commonwealth Games with trauma. Do you think Commonwealth Games should be continued, or India should continue to participate in the game?
2010 जो है वो एक एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव फेलियर था.
Yeah.
ठीक है, वो एक पॉलिटिकल लेवल पे फेलियर था. सो वाई डू यू फील और वाई डू यू नॉट फील कि भाई अहमदाबाद सेम रहेगा या डिफरेंट रहेगा?
I always say this, like Ashish Kumar walked so that Deepak Karmakar could run. Yeah, Noor Zaman. You don't want to talk about Noor Zaman.
He's a punk.
Actually, the games were estimated to cost 270 million. It ended up costing 4.1 billion, which is 16 times more. Yeah, a lot of flack that Gujarat gets, why keep getting the sporting events despite there being no sports culture. So the organizing committee member like Suresh Kalmadi is one of the reason the distrust is there. Like in 2024, the Suresh Kalmadi was acquitted of all the charges, stating the lack of sufficient evidence. But we as sports fan needs to ensure and make sure that the mistakes that were done by the previous organizing committee does not repeat. It's because it's my home state also. Like I'm a
कुछ गुजराती ही बोल रहे हैं. Let's go Gujarat, let's go Ahmedabad, something like that.
કરીશું સારી રીતે કરીશું.
Hello and welcome to the third episode of IID Sports Podcast. This is a special series which will be kind of running parallel to the India's journey at the Olympic series, and herein we'll be talking about India's latest news about sports and whatever is happening in the world of sports. And today we are going to discuss about Commonwealth Games, and as we all know that Ahmedabad has been selected as the host city for the centenary Commonwealth Games of 2030. तो एक बहुत बड़ा मौका है हम सब लोगों के लिए to kind of like rest assured कि हमारा bid जो है 2036 Olympics के लिए सही हो जाए, and this is one of the biggest stepping stone in that direction. And Ahmedabad not just Commonwealth Games is not just hosting the Commonwealth Games, it is also going to host a whole lot of events in the lead up to 2030 Commonwealth Games. We'll be discussing about the Commonwealth Games specifically, and we'll be dwelling a little bit into how India's performance has been at the Commonwealth Games and what was the origin of Commonwealth Games and all those things. So as we told you that it's a centenary game, so 2030 will be the 100th year the first time Commonwealth Games had started. So it had started in 1930 in Hamilton city of Canada. Again, today joining me is one guy who has spent quite a lot of his time in Ahmedabad. So we are looking to get some new insights from him. My dear friend Ankush.
Hi guys.
And he has been from Ahmedabad, and he has actually, you have lived, how many years you have been in Ahmedabad?
Yeah, so Gujarat is my home state.
It is.
Yeah, and I'm really excited that Amdavad is going, and I'm specifically keen that they are using Amdavad, not Ahmedabad.
Not Ahmedabad, right.
Yeah, so Amdavad is a Gujarati slang or term which it's the city, the Gujus as they call.
Yeah.
Yeah. So couldn't be more excited.
Great. So Ahmedabad rather will be hosting the 2030 Commonwealth Games, which will be a huge stepping stone in its bid for the 2036 Olympics, isn't it?
Yeah, so I've seen online like quite a few rumblings why Ahmedabad is getting so many sports events lately,
Right.
and there's a lot of speculation and a lot of concern about the games, and because our experience with Commonwealth Games hosting hasn't been that great.
That's
Like
fruitful, right?
if you think about it, like when you say Delhi 2010 or Commonwealth 2010, People associate Commonwealth Games with trauma,
Yeah.
like entire generation.
It was a scam, right?
Yeah, CWG scam. Like it was known. It's known for
आई
it.
थिंक उसके बाद इंडिया ने एशियन गेम्स को भी होस्ट करने का ट्राई किया था बट बिकॉज ऑफ दैट ट्रॉमा और दैट मतलब कि बोलते हैं ना दैट रिजर्वेशंस ऑफ द ओसीए ओलंपिक
Yeah.
कमेटी ऑफ एशिया दे डिडंट allow India to kind of host anything after
Yeah,
that.
so since but now we are talking after the Ahmedabad has been awarded the
Yep,
2030
yep.
games.
Huh?
Yeah, so we'll need to see how it is different. Like and it will need some convincing for the Indian sports fan to come to terms with that Ahmedabad 2030 is going to do this right. And what are the steps the Ahmedabad is taking so that we don't repeat the mistake of the past. The lessons were learned while hosting the CWG 2010 in Delhi. And yeah, there are some things that Ahmedabad is doing differently this time. We'll be discussing a lot,
Exactly, yeah.
a lot about that also.
Right.
We'll be discussing about the legacy of Delhi
Cover.
2010 games, like how it fulfilled a lot of people's dreams and aspiration and
How it was a stepping
how
stone
yeah
for a
and
lot of our
lot
Indian
of
athletes.
lot of young athletes
Correct.
used as its launch pad
Right,
to
right.
yeah
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about, but first things first, like let's talk about the history of Commonwealth Games. How did it start, and would you like to tell our viewers how Commonwealth Games have evolved over the years in terms of its
you
and its
really want me to talk
nomenclature?
about it.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, so like Commonwealth Games I'm like so it is British Empire Games, you know,
Right,
and
right.
like it was called in 1930s. It has changed its name over the years
Right.
quite a lot. Like in 1954, it was renamed as British Empire and Commonwealth Games,
Right.
and in 1978, then it was eventually renamed Commonwealth Games, and it's been known as Commonwealth Games ever since.
Right.
And I think it's the third biggest multi-sport event after Olympics and the Asian Games.
Exactly.
But I think it's currently Commonwealth Games organizing committee and the entire movement. If you see, it's like reeks of the colonial past, and it's been struggling for quite a while. If you see that there are a lot of issues like people these games are
Yeah, 2026 hosts Victoria,
yeah
the state of Victoria in Australia. They pulled out.
yeah pulled out, and then the committee asked Malaysia to organize it, and Malaysia flat outly rejected.
Right.
And that's when India saw this as an opportunity to take the event, like it fell into lap of India
In 2030,
yeah
but 2026 has been will be hosted by I think Glasgow in
Yeah.
Scotland, right? Talking about India hosting the 2030 Commonwealth Games, Ahmedabad, do you see it as some kind of a lobbying being done by the Indian Olympic Association to get the 2036 Olympics hosting duties or hosting rights in our favor? Because आफ्टर दिस इट विल बी सीन एज अ बिट ऑफ अ क्या बोले हम उसको एक एहसान की तरह दिख सकती है जो भी कॉमनवेल्थ नेशंस है कि भाई खासकर जो डेवलपिंग नेशंस है दे विल सी कि भाई हाँ इंडिया काइंड ऑफ पुट देयर हैंड्स अप in one multi-sporting event which is already in a bit of shambles if one might say that word but उसके बाद अगर आप देखें कि despite it being in the shambles India has put out their hand कि भाई हम इसको होस्ट करेंगे 2030 में सो जितने भी कॉमनवेल्थ नेशंस है विल दे नॉट बी लॉबिंग फॉर इंडिया एट द 2036 ओलंपिक्स की जब मतलब कि बिड तो अभी खैर पोटेंशियल सिटीज वी नो दैट देयर आर 5 cities. One is Qatar, Doha, one is Istanbul, Ahmedabad, Santiago in Chile, and South Africa. They have not named the city yet, which they want to be the host city for 2036. But will this all help in at least maneuvering those people who are in the Commonwealth nations federation that hey, India is someone who helped us in that situation. Let's kind of push their narrative and make them the host for 2036 Olympics.
No, I don't think that's how it works.
That's an
Yeah,
outright no. But
yeah,
you,
because it's like pretty torn down. Like it's pretty long process to get to the host of the 2036 Olympics, and I think that that outcome will come by latest by 2029. So it will the host of the 2036 Olympics will be announced before
Yes, it
even
will.
the Commonwealth Games takes place. Also, the lobbying is not something that you do to the nations, right? It's like IOC has its member
Of course,
and all
yeah.
those things. And the lobbying part is pretty much everyone knows the lobbying happens, and
Yeah.
the only thing that this Commonwealth Games hosting does for India is it's if you get the venues built in time, it just shows that capabilities and infrastructure will already be in place to host the 2036 Olympics, and that shows the IOC the readiness of the city.
Yeah.
It's like hosting an any multi-sport event is
It's a huge challenge.
logistical
It's a huge
security,
hassle.
and like a lot of things goes into hosting games apart from the stadiums. So it's a more of a less proof of concept that we of the readiness, and it's a you can call it a dry run also, which Ahmedabad as a city will be doing. And so uh, yeah, the for 2036 the bridge is still too far, and you never know with this thing. There are a lot of issues first that needs to be resolved, or a lot of convincing we need to do to the IOC before we get the 2036. But desire is the strongest from India among all the nations that are bidding, right?
Yes.
But it ultimately will rest.
If it is in your manifesto, then it is something, then the desire comes automatically,
Yeah.
right? Uh, Talking about the intent or desire, Doha is also hosting 2030 Asian Games.
Yeah.
So India had to do something of an equivalent thing,
Yeah.
right? And now, why I say that it will be some kind of a indirect push for India to host those games, because you see, Commonwealth nations that are already there, most of the Commonwealth nations, they have their say in the IOC, but they are not economically that great. Still, most of the Commonwealth nations are in the developing stage. A few of them are underdeveloped, and a handful of them are can be called as developed nations, like England, Australia, Canada, et al. Right? So मैं यही बोल रहा था कि इनको अगर आप नेशंस को ऐसा मौका दे रहे हो जहाँ पे उनके बंदे आके परफॉर्म कर रहे हैं, सो इट्स अ मैटर ऑफ नेशनल प्राइड उन लोगों के लिए. आई विल नेम अ फ्यू कंट्रीज लाइक नाइजीरिया, केनिया, दे ऑल
By the way, Nigeria was someone
was
who bidded alongside India to
India
get the 2030,
2030.
and Nigerian fans were really angry on
Absolutely.
Twitter
Yeah.
that they didn't get, and how come
I know.
India got the bid.
I know you were
And
going to come up with this, but I'm just saying that still, for these countries, it is a matter of pride to participate as an Commonwealth Games, and getting a medal there is something which is a huge thing, because most of these countries do not get a medal at the Olympics. I know Kenya gets a lot of medals at the Olympics, but not a lot of.
Okay, let's get the elephant out of the room here. Do you think Commonwealth Games should be continued, or India should continue to participate in the games?
अगेन ये बात हमने पहले एपिसोड में भी की थी कि एक रियलिस्टिक अप्रोच के साथ आपको अपने स्पोर्ट्स को मार्केट करना चाहिए, राइट? वो हमने ओलंपिक्स में भी नहीं किया, हमने एशियन गेम्स में भी नहीं किया, कॉमनवेल्थ गेम्स में भी नहीं किया. कॉमनवेल्थ गेम्स में कोई गोल्ड लाता है वेट लिफ्टिंग में, दैट इज नॉट अ ग्रेट फीट. दैट इज अ गुड फीट इन इटसेल्फ, दैट इज अ ह्यूज फीट फॉर एन एथलीट, बट इट इज नॉट. अगर आप उसको हाइंडसाइड में देखो ओलंपिक्स के लिए, दैट्स नॉट अ गुड फीट, दैट मे नॉट बी इवन पार. ओके, तो आपको रियलिस्टिक जो एक्सपेक्टेशंस है ना, उनको काफ़ी रियलिस्टिक रखना है, राइट? अगर वो आप रखते हो तो आप कॉमनवेल्थ गेम्स में जाइए ना, क्यों नहीं जाएंगे? आपके एथलीट्स जो हैं उनको एक अच्छा मौका मिल रहा है अपना देश को रिप्रेजेंट करने का. So it's a big moment for those guys.
So you think the athletes who get medals out of weightlifting and wrestling and a lot of things, and they have a lot of this prize money or
they shouldn't be
awards.
unnecessarily hyped. Unnecessarily उनको hype नहीं करो, ठीक है? Prize money at all जो है वो चलता रहता है, ठीक है, उसमें मेरे को कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, प्राइज मनी आप दे रहे हो, दैट्स ओके। बट हाइप करना और ओवर हाइप करना इज समथिंग जो आपको अवॉइड करना चाहिए, और अगर वो अवॉइड होता है देन इट्स ग्रेट, अगर नहीं होता देन वी आर बैक टू स्क्वायर वन, कि भाई कॉमनवेल्थ में आपने 100-150 मेडल लाए आपने, ओलंपिक्स में लेकिन 10 मेडल लाए, सो दैट डजंट मेक सेंस, राइट?
Okay. Now let's talk about why Commonwealth Games 2030 is really important for India, and why, like, I wanted to get dug deep how like the trauma, generational trauma of 2010, the legacy it
yes.
left behind. Like there are a lot of stuff that needs to be said about this thing, because lot of Indian sports fan are very speculative, or skeptical about the India being awarded 2030 games again, and how it will trigger again the memories of 2010. So yeah, I wanted to start with how come
So you,
what
you, you can give your 2 cents about it. You can tell it blatantly भाई. मेरे को भी पता है कि 2010 जो है वो एक एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव फेलियर था,
Yeah.
ठीक है, वो एक पॉलिटिकल लेवल पे फेलियर था. सो why do you feel or why do you not feel कि भाई अहमदाबाद सेम रहेगा, डिफरेंट रहेगा? What is your opinion about it?
Yeah, so let's just get some facts out of the way for
हाँ, ठीक है,
2010.
let's do it. हाँ.
So Ahmedabad will be different. I'll come later on that later. How Ahmedabad is trying to do things differently this time. So in Delhi, when the Commonwealth Games happened, we were awarded the game in 2003.
Right.
And so initially, when we were awarded the game, the goal of the game was that will brand this image of India to the global media or global people, that we are developing nation in sports too, and to get into the grassroots, to take the sport into the grassroots.
Okay, hang on. So you are saying that our aim
Yeah.
for hosting the 2010 Commonwealth Games was to show to the people across the globe that hey, India is a developing sporting nation,
Yeah.
right? And we have the potential to host the Olympics as well.
Yes.
But we were not bidding for any Olympics.
Yeah.
Or any other games at that
Yeah,
time.
because it was the first time when we were awarded, we were hosting any multi-sport event after 1982 Asian Games. Yeah, so it was a big moment for India as a nation. So if you see what went on, like what went on during the games was pretty incredible in so many ways, because it was a catastrophe of epic proportions.
Right.
Like the administrator, how we failed, like the last minute, till last minute the construction work we didn't finish. And so eventually what led up to it is, like, initially the games were estimated to cost 270 million, and it ended up costing 4.1 billion.
Look at that.
Which is 16 times more of the initial budget.
That's crazy.
Initially the organizing committee estimated a revenue out of 1800 crores from the games, which eventually was about 600 crores. So like it reported a loss of 1707 crores of operating loss.
1707.
1707
Wow.
crore of loss. I mean, those are some incredible numbers, and this is like so many.
और इंडिया में खासकर स्पोर्ट्स में लॉस बनाना इज मतलब कि एक जब आप ग्लोबल लेवल का मीट होस्ट करो, लॉस बनाना इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट, बट स्टिल टू मैनेज टू make loss out of it.
Yeah.
Something crazy. And thank you for the numbers. Thank you for enlightening our viewers with those numbers. But it is
Yeah,
it was shambolic.
It was shambolic, because India's our watchdog CAG reports, which audited the games afterwards, we clearly stated so many irregularities out of like in the 14 disciplines or venues that were the contract that were awarded to them. There were so many irregularities that were there, and after the games, the Suresh Kalmadi was jailed because of that,
Yeah.
right? And if you see lot of what actually happened there is because we were running out of time, right? So lot of building of the stadium and lot of red tape was this was used as an argument to get rid of like a lot of regulations and like systematic tape that was there, you
Right,
know,
right,
to pass the contracts and make it quicker because we were running out of time. And yeah, so it was. But if you see the Commonwealth Games from a different perspective, right, from the purely sporting perspective, it was the most successful Olympic Games for
Commonwealth
India.
Games.
Yeah, Commonwealth Games, sorry, for India ever, right?
Ever,
So
right.
we finished with 101.
Yeah, 36 gold medals,
38,
38,
38 gold medals,
Yeah.
and I remember 38 gold medal was won by Saina Nehwal. She was playing against this Malaysian player. We were tied with England.
Yeah.
We were
And
tied
that-
with England on the last day,
Yeah.
and Saina Nehwal was facing.
Had to win this.
Yeah,
gold,
and
that gold.
she saved match points.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, she saved match points and then went on to win the third game, and that's how we broke the tie with England,
And-
which by the way had more medals than India. So
Yeah,
England had
almost
won.
8 to 10 medals.
Yeah, but that was the peak of our Olympic, or not Olympic, Commonwealth Games. You know, like that was the highest medal tally, and so what Commonwealth Game 2010 proved was like after the data on that is pretty clear. So if you look at the data, the initial aim that was there, to make inroads in the grassroots of the sport, we didn't quite achieve that. What Commonwealth Games did in 2010 was it just the elite talent that we had, it just escalated, or it just made gave the our elite talent platform to shine.
Correct.
And they did.
And they show, yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
and so
I remember a lot of moments from 2010 Commonwealth Games. I remember Gagan Narang breaking the qualification world record in 10-meter air rifle, winning multiple medals. Vijay Kumar was brilliant. A lot shooting contingent was on absolute fire.
Yeah.
Like athletics also won 2 gold medals after 1958. Right, and then wrestling, Geeta Fogart, the rise of Geeta Fogart, Alka Tomar, a lot of Greco-Roman medals as well. Greco-Roman was, by the way, introduced in that Commonwealth Games. It's not a part of Commonwealth Games usually. But I also remember one thing when Suresh Kalmadi came onto the speaker's dais and he was booed by the crowd. That kind of showed India in a very bad light. I mean, that is a trauma. But when you remove that trauma
let us just dissect the performance bit more, right? Like Commonwealth Games across the sports, if you see, like if you see whenever a host nation is doing like performs well, there's always this thing, right? Because the bump always comes when you're hosting, when the nation is particularly hosting. The peak in the medal tally is always there, visible. And for India, if you see, the out of 101 medal, 48.5% of medal came from only two sports.
Shooting and
Wrestling, and wrestling we won 19 medals out of 21, and shooting we had 30 medals.
Right.
So there was a high concentration of the medals from these two sports.
Right.
But the games were like instrumental in giving us medals in gymnastics.
Yeah.
So Ashish Kumar won one silver
star.
and one bronze.
He was a star.
So I always say this, like Ashish Kumar walked so that Deepak Karmakar could run.
Yeah.
So and that was the thing. And then one of the other moments of the Commonwealth Games was Krishna Punia winning. That was the first gold that we won after 1958. Milkha Singh. That was one of the moment of the Commonwealth Games. But I want to talk about the legacy, right? Like what after the Commonwealth Games finished, right? There were like if you see in 2014 we finished 5th, and our medal count reduced from 38 to 15.
Yeah,
because it was expected.
You know why?
Yeah.
wrestling was removed
Yeah.
of the program, out of the program, and then we didn't have shooting pairs events,
Yeah.
which usually happened in Commonwealth
But
Games.
that is expected. But what I wanted to understand is continuously, if you see, we've established that in Commonwealth Games, our medal tally revolves around 60 to 65 medals. Even when the shooting was removed in the recent editions,
Yeah.
we managed to make
Yeah,
that
yeah.
tally. You know,
In
but
Birmingham, yeah.
yeah. So yeah, so in terms of medal, like if you see, there are sport which commands your attention more at the Commonwealth
Yes,
Games than
yes,
the
exactly.
other games. There are sport in which the medal means more, right?
Should mean more.
Yeah, should mean more than the other sports.
Right.
So hockey is one of the prime example
Yeah.
where the competition is very fierce among, because
It's not very fierce, but it's yeah,
yeah,
it's a very good competition.
you can call that
Because you don't have Netherlands, Germany, and all these
yeah,
countries who are
but
rising
you
well.
have Australia,
Australia,
England,
and South Africa, New Zealand.
yeah, and you have Malaysia also,
Malaysia.
right? So that is there. Then squash is also
Squash is
pretty
very yeah.
competitive. It's a
Yeah.
World Cup level event, because
Yeah.
all the
Just
apart from Egypt,
Egyptians, yeah.
yeah, apart from Egypt, all the top nations, Malaysia, India, like all
Are
the,
participating.
yeah,
England also, New Zealand
New
also,
Zealand,
they have very
Pakistan
good.
also.
Pakistan now they are a little no, they are focused on
Noor
other
Zaman,
things.
you don't want to talk about
I
Noor
don't want
Zaman.
to talk about any. There's a punk. Anyway, yeah. But anyway, I mean, talking about these sports like squash, athletics, of course.
Yeah.
Um,
I think we need to put a caveat to athletics and swimming events, because
Yeah.
a lot of time what happens is most top athletes
Do not participate
do
in
not travel, or there's like internal selection processes
Mhm.
that has the athletes quota that restricts the like nations sending their top field or top so if you see
Yeah.
top field maybe heavy, right? So if you may have one Olympic champion from Australia in swimming event,
yeah.
and athletics also you may have someone from Jamaica, but like down the line the like competitiveness of the entire field is not quite the
Correct.
same. You
Correct.
may have top stars,
Yes.
but
But even their second string players are pretty potent, and
Yeah.
winning against them or reaching finals against them in especially swimming. I think Srihari did that in the 2022 Commonwealth Games. He was breaking a lot of national records and kind of reached the finals as well of many events. So that was quite spectacular. And yeah, so the thing is that swimming, athletics, if India does well in those sports at the Commonwealth Games, you can say that hey, we are growing.
Yeah.
Even squash for that matter, or hockey for that matter, if you kind of reach the finals in these events, or reach to a medal match in at least squash, then you are saying that hey, yeah, we have some good players in our kitty. So yeah, that is something which we have to look into, and not take with that with a
yeah,
pinch of salt.
I think the more strategic use of Commonwealth game, if we are going to participate, if we are going to be there and do that, I think the most strategic use is just to the competitions or the sport which do not have the world class, or we are best, like wrestling or weightlifting. I think it should be given to the youngsters. It should be those can feel the pressure very early.
Yeah, and either that, or give your audience a good gist of hey, these guys are going to get literal walkovers in their matches or in their events. So you don't buy a lot of your time wasting that hey, this guy has won a medal in Commonwealth Games and he's a potential Olympic medalist, which is not going to happen, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
usko matlab realistics
Right context needs to be
right
set.
context needs to be like provided. So yeah, तो मतलब Commonwealth Games जो है, it is something which allows a lot of players to win an international medals.
Yeah.
Right. But again, you have to keep a check on your expectations in the future tournaments. But yeah, it can give you a lot of confidence to athletes who actually are not feeling that much confident. Right.
Yeah.
Like in the lead up to the Commonwealth Games, if you're seeing there are certain athletes who are who are good but are not living, realizing their actual potential. But winning an international medal can do a lot of good
Yeah.
things to them. So that is the positives of it. But again, you have to keep your expectations in check and not give false hopes for a bigger tournament. per se.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I think that's from the sporting side. Commonwealth Games are always will always remain that, you know, you
Yeah.
can't change, you know, either until we decide to not participate or so. I think since the 2030, it will lot of things will depend how the event goes, and the future of the Commonwealth Games itself are in limbo. I don't know.
Yeah, talking about that, I mean, one was expecting that 2026 games would be quashed for all money, but
Yeah.
it didn't happen. Glasgow kind of put their hand up and they kind of decided to use the existing infra from 2014.
Yeah.
Glasgow had hosted the 2014
Yeah.
Commonwealth Games, by the way. So, and use that and make a curtail or a shorter form.
I don't even
Commonwealth
think
Games.
there's like many events for
You remember how
India.
many events are there? Track cycling, I remember.
Yeah, 10.
Athletics, swimming,
Yeah.
boxing,
Yeah.
lawn bowls,
Wrestling.
judo. Wrestling is not there. Judo is there.
Weightlifting is there.
Weightlifting is there. 7.
Yeah.
And then we have
Netball.
netball. Yeah,
Yeah,
netball
and-
is there. And a couple of more events.
Yeah.
Gymnastics, I think. is
Yeah,
there.
gymnastics is there.
Gymnastics is there, right?
Yeah.
So I do not think we are going to win a whole lot of medals
Yeah,
this time
yeah,
around.
I think it's
It'll be mostly Australia, England, and
yeah.
taking the top honors, and then Canada.
The
and-
fact that is taking place is like
yeah. Yeah, the chance of that happening was very less, but yeah, Glasgow tried to kind of keep those games alive,
Yeah.
and good on them. We got the chance to host the 2030
Yeah.
Amdavad Games, which probably can lead a pathway for a much better perspective when we talk about 2036, when we keep 2036 Olympics in our hindsight, right?
yeah.
तो यही है, अभी देखते हैं कैसा रहेगा. Some of the thoughts that we want to share here.
Yeah, so okay, let's talk about now about the 2030 Ahmedabad Games.
Yes, in
How Ahmedabad is trying to do things differently. So first of all, from Delhi 2010, the accountability factor wasn't fixed
Yeah.
because and the
नहीं, actually मैं sorry to cut you off here,
Yeah.
but 2010 में आपका aim जो था वो कुछ बड़ा नहीं था, but when you host an event of this magnitude, it is a huge magnitude. It was a huge magnitude at least in 2010. तो आपको उस infrastructure को भी अच्छे से protect करना चाहिए था. We have seen what has happened to jail, and now
Yeah.
it's refurbished, but still it is being used for musical concerts and all. There are a lot of other facilities that are kind of in the limbo. They are not being used properly, and that will not be happening with Ahmedabad because hey, we are going to we are still bidding for 2036 Olympics, and after if we get that hosting rights, which will be a huge thing, then you will have to kind of improve on that infrastructure from 2030, right?
yeah.
So yeah, aims and objectives this time around are very different.
Yeah.
And you were saying, right?
Yeah, I mean, like the administrative failure and the subsequent judiciary that failed to give punishment, proper punishment to the organizing committee member like Suresh Kalmadi is one of the reason the distrust is there. You know, like in 2024, the Suresh Kalmadi was acquitted of all the charges, stating the lack of sufficient evidence. When there is the CAG reports like doing the pretty damning evidence presenting like how the games ran over budget, and like it's very funny that the games launched the India against corruption and like the entire corruption movement, and that
Yeah.
actually eventually made Arvind Kejriwal the chief minister. By the way, let's not get into that. But still, it just the corruption was so big in that that it launched a nationwide campaign, and it's still in after running the case like for multiple
15 years
yeah,
almost.
and in 2024 the court has finally decided that nothing happened. So it's yeah.
I mean, we do not see a lot of बोलते ना वो persons on the top positions getting
Yeah.
those.
Yeah, so let's talk about how Ahmedabad is trying to do this very differently. So first of all, in
Accountability,
2010,
yes, right.
first in 2010, organizing committee was a statutory society, and which did not have overseeing or regulations that bother. So it's like my cousin is a tender, I
Oh,
can give it to you,
yeah.
right? So but in 2013, we Ahmedabad is forming Section 8 non-for-profit company. So Section 8 non-for-profit companies are very much answerable for all the rules, like following all the corporate rules and regulation that a particular company needs to do, you know.
Right, right.
There's one more challenge which was there, like what happens after the game, who takes care of the stadium. So there's one more rule in Section 8 company is there, that after the game finish, Section 8 company needs to either dissolve or merge with existing company, so that there's no, hangover or like misuse of the
Fund. Yeah,
company
yeah.
fund, and that will be there. So that's one of the good thing that looks good on the paper
At
from
least
the
on paper,
start.
yeah.
Yeah, to start, we'll have to see. Another thing which is pretty unique and different this time around is Ahmedabad is already in the progress
Right, right.
to make the stadiums already, because and
The 26 Asian athletics,
yeah,
Asian weightlifting championships,
yeah, and the
and many other events.
aquatics
Happened
also
recently.
happened, and so Veer Savarkar complex
Yes,
is already operational,
operational. Yeah.
and like all the stadium they're planning to complete it by 28 and 29,
Wow.
early 2029. In addition to that, Ahmedabad is also going to organize 2029 fire and military games,
Oh.
which will act as a dress rehearsal for the games, like to from organizational and security standpoint. So that will give them a lot of
Preparation. Yeah.
preparation, and there are a lot of other events which Ahmedabad is planning. But before 2013, the military, not military, fire and police
Fire and
game,
police games. Yeah.
yeah, it will be very huge for the preparedness of the games. Also, there are like several venues which will be used, which are like under construction or already constructed. Like Narendra Modi Stadium
Stadium is
is
there.
the prime
Right. Yeah.
example,
Yeah.
which is already
Constructed.
existing facility. And yeah, so Ahmedabad, like a lot of people have this thing that Gujarat doesn't have the sport culture. Yeah,
But
and
they have the facilities. That
yeah,
is
but that has been a problem that Gujarat government has been trying to solve for
solved. Yeah.
a lot of years.
Yeah.
So if you see over the years from 2003 to 2024, Gujarat sports budget has increased from like minimal 3 or 4 crore to currently it's 521 crores,
That's great.
which is
Wow.
significantly.
Wow, that's
And the
a
sports schools which Gujarat had, like
very nice.
have increased from 3 to 24.
Hmm.
So yeah, so there's pretty heavy investment in terms of sports facility that has been done by the government. So and there's a Khel Mahakumbh that happens every year in Gujarat, which has seen the increased participation among the Gujarati people. You know, Gujarat athletes, that has given a platform to a lot of. You remember the Sarita Ben, that
Gaikwad.
yeah, Sarita Ben, Savita Ben Gaikwad,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Saitama. Four
Yeah,
into 400.
400, yeah, that produced that.
Asian.
Yeah, you have Ankita Raina, Manav Thakkar,
Yes.
all these athletes who came up from the Khel Mahakumbh,
Great,
and
great.
the participation number is close to 7 million.
Wow.
That has increased. So it's not like Gujarat isn't aware. So when you talk in national media, there's a lot of
Flak.
yeah, there are a lot of flack that Gujarat gets. Why it keep getting the sporting events despite there being no sports culture.
There's an intent from the government. There is
Yeah.
no denying that fact. But the problem here is that we are still figuring out to produce great athletes from. We are still in that notion that, hey, if your place doesn't produce great athletes or like world class athletes, then you probably shouldn't. That notion doesn't make any sense in this context, because you have the infrastructure in that place ready. So why look for any other place, right? I
Yeah.
mean, that is the whole argument here. But I do not think that should matter at all, but because you have done that with total government will, they are spending a lot of money and the results will definitely follow. But you have to just make sure that nothing is lost in transition, as we say. We have talked about that in detail many a times. But yeah, I think Gujarat getting the Commonwealth Games, Ahmedabad getting the Commonwealth Games is a huge thing, and we all as Indians should be proud of that. The efforts that the Indian government is making
Yeah.
to kind of get these big build events or these heavy build events into our ecosystem, so that there is an influx of new athletes who get inspired to do well for India on global stage
Yeah,
in India.
two things that are very important that are needed, like is to preserve the legacy of the games. Is like, one is to ensure that the venues that were created does not become the white elephant,
Yeah.
as we say in the media.
Right.
Right, so one is like the venues keep getting the international events, right, which Ahmedabad is already planning, which will be a lot of athletics and Asian and continental level championships. And the other part is, I think the organizing committee needs to ensure that it's accessible to public also. They open it to public for pay, like
Paper use.
pay-per-use model, like that also needs to happen, so that this sports facility
Yeah,
can
we want
be.
Indian universities to do the same as well. But
Yeah,
yeah, I totally agree with you here, because an infrastructure when not used becomes, as you said, worthless. उसका कोई मतलब ही नहीं रहता है. तो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर अगर है तो उसका आप नेशन डेवलपमेंट में काम के लिए यूज़ करते हैं, वरना एथेंस वाला ही हाल हो जाएगा सबका.
yeah.
दिल्ली का तो हम देख ही रहे हैं अभी. कुछ कुछ स्टेडियम्स ही मतलब यूज़ हो पा रहे हैं जो कॉमनवेल्थ गेम्स में यूज़ हुए थे. लाइक जेएलएन स्टेडियम तो टोटली नहीं यूज़ हुआ. मेरे को वही मैं
No, I think Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium got used for under 17 FIFA World Cup. And that was like, I think total of 8 matches were played there, in including, and the Delhi Dynamos in Indian Super League also used its home stadium from 2014 to 2019. I think, but it was
It was meant for
used,
athletics,
yeah, it was used as a football stadium, right?
it has never been used for an athletics.
Yeah, like recently it was renovated for
the
para
para
athletics
world
championship. It
championships.
got 80 crores injection from the government to
And relay the track.
yeah.
But
So
yeah, it I know it can be used for, because making a football.
I think
field-
now 2025 standing is like
it's-
after the para athletics championship, it's the one of the best stadium currently we
It
have
is,
in
but
India.
it has to be used properly, right?
Yeah.
Because see, I mean, if you talk about athletics, right? If you talk about athletics, it is much more difficult to get a stadium ready for athletics events than it is to get it ready for a football event, right? So that's the point. If you have a good athletics facility in your at your helm, you please use it for organizing different tournaments. But that sadly has not happened for
Yeah.
JLN, and yeah, but that's the point. I mean, we want it to be used for a much better usage, but it's not happening. So, but anyway, that is, I think, a thing of the past. I think with the new injection of that 80 crores into JLN.
Yeah, so
stadium,
that's why
would have
this
helped.
episode is really important, because we want to keep track of the progress that happens
Yes,
throughout
yes.
these years leading towards the Ahmedabad 2013. It's very important that we do not let the organizing committee get away with anything this time around. We as a like
At least on paper it looks much better.
yeah,
than how
but
what it
setup
was.
looks better and clean, but we as sports fan needs to ensure and make sure
Yeah.
that the mistakes that were done by the previous organizing
committee
committee does not repeat. You know, it's our job and responsibility to
Absolutely, absolutely.
to not let that happen. And I'm like pretty confident that Gujarat will be able to pull it off much better
Yes.
than the Delhi did.
Yes.
But yeah, I think the accountability we need
Keep
to
track of
yeah
that, yeah.
keep track of this thing throughout the
Cycle.
progression and yeah,
Right.
I think that would be
I
great.
have no doubt that Gujarat will exceed all the expectations and deliver a flawless Commonwealth
Yeah,
Games.
yeah, because it's my home state also. Like I'm a
कुछ गुजराती ही बोल रहे हैं, let's go Gujarat, let's go Ahmedabad, something like
नहीं
that.
नहीं नहीं करीसु सारी रीते करीसु
चलो सही है, but I mean I had a lot of enjoyment talking about this episode. It was a parallel episode to our series that we are currently doing, but a nice set of analytics and examples that you provided were very helpful for our audience. I would totally agree with that, and let's see and let's hope that India like adds another feather in its cap of being a good sporting nation by kind of hosting the Commonwealth Games in the great light, right? So I think this is mostly it about from this episode.
This was a quick and short episode.
But yeah, it was something very knowledgeable, and it will provide a lot of insights to all the guys.
Yeah,
who
we'll keep doing this.
We'll be keeping track of
we'll
it,
be
right?
keeping track of all the developments that happens to Ahmedabad 2030 games,
Right,
because
absolutely.
this is one of the really important
stepping stones for 2036
yes,
Olympics hosting of the, because 2029 तक अगर hosting के rights भी decide होते हैं, I think 1-2 साल में हो जाना चाहिए वैसे, but तब तक की progress जो है वो बिल्कुल देखी जाएगी. So hope here's to the hope that India gets an Olympics in 2036, and India hosts a very successful Commonwealth Games in 2030. Ahmedabad hosts this Commonwealth Games in 2030 with a great zeal and enthusiasm, and proves every naysayer wrong, right? Yeah. So that is mostly it from this episode. Please like this episode and subscribe to our channel. Write down in the comments below about how you felt about this episode and what are your thoughts about India hosting.
Yeah, also write about the generational trauma.
The millennials, please do the honors. And please write down in the comments below about any episodes, ideas that you want to you want us to kind of do on this podcast channel. Until next time, see you and goodbye.
Yeah, bye.